Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rants alongside Tommy Christ and TK over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood here in Baton Rouge. I'm at an undisclosed location presented by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, where you can go to lasportshall.com and get your tickets for the November 17th, 18th golf tournament that we're going to have at University Club and the party at the Bears Casino. Go check it out, November 17th and 18th. Celebrity event in Baton Rouge for the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, and we're presented, of course, by Le Bears Casino. Le Bears Casino, Friday night, Molly Ringwald's in concert, $5,000 costume contest. It is the best party, Ghouls Night Out. It's the best party in all of Baton Rouge for Halloween for 12 years. So go by Le Bears Friday night. Molly Ringwald's, probably 1,000 people in the event center. At least 600 of them are going to be dressed up in costume. It's an amazing night. I'll be emceeing, so go check it out. That's this Friday over at the Bears Casino. LSU, of course, Texas A&M ticket prices, Tommy, are through the roof. $500 plus for good seats over in College Station Saturday night. The whole college football world is watching because the winner has the inside track to Atlanta. And a lot on the line as LSU is ranked, in the top 10. But a couple of big other news besides LSU A&M to talk about, and that is, and we'll get plenty deep into that on Friday. But Major League Baseball World Series starts on Friday. Dodgers Yankees, which is great for baseball for a lot of reasons, ratings, interest level, etc. International because of Shohei as well. The two most famous franchises, the most successful franchises in baseball, but then also Fernando Valenzuela, a guy that was one of my favorite players, probably yours as well. Fernando Valenzuela passed away at 63 years old, the former Dodger great who for 20 plus years was on the Spanish broadcast for the Dodgers, stepped down earlier this month and died. They'll honor him at the game on Friday in Los Angeles. We'll talk about Fernando in a minute. And then also the NBA started last night. LeBron and his son, Ronnie, the first ever father-son in the NBA. They got on the court together. The Lakers won. Tonight, the Pelicans are in action. Zion Williamson looks healthy, looks great. Let's see if he can stay that way and see if Ingram can stay that way and all that. But the Pels are at home tonight against the Bulls, and they're favored over in the Blender.
Yeah, they're favored by 6.5, and the Bulls. If you favor by 6.5 season opener, you got to get that win. I know it's a long season, but you got to get that win. Hopefully, there's a big crowd, and then a lot of talk too this week. All the renovations to the Superdome because the Super Bowl will be there in February. They now need to renovate the Smoothie King Center, the Blender, because they say it has really fallen behind. So, a lot of talk on the heels of supposedly the renovations are done at the Dome. And now they say they got to move to this because it needs a lot of help. I haven't been in there in many years. I know you go to a couple of Pelicans games every year. So we'll see if they move on that.
Yeah, this year is an exciting year for the Pels. It's also a nervous one because, you're at some point, the Zion experiment's got to kick in or he's going to be gone. And this is an opportunity for the Pels to, be a playoff team, to be a top 6 playoff team, so where you don't have to play in the play-in game. And hopefully, again, the key is that dude's got to stay healthy. That is it. If he's healthy, they win 50 games, they're a top 6 team. I really believe that. If not, then the world's upside down. But look, I don't really get into the NBA until the NFL, until the Saints really are over with. So that means I'm into it now because the Saints are over. there is no Saints. The Saints are atrocious. So I am different than most years. Game 1, I am locked into the Pelicans, and I think they're going to be my team this year. I'm going to watch them probably a lot of their games because the Saints are absolutely put a fork in them done. Although, good news yesterday for the Saints.
Yeah, they signed Alvin Kamara to a 2-year contract extension. $24.5 million, $22 million guaranteed. There's some incentives in there. Talk about maybe trading him. I suggested maybe they should trade him, but get some value for him. So the contract's not that absurd that you couldn't still trade him and somebody else take all of it or part of it. But yeah, I guess that's a message that he wants to be there, and that they're going to keep plugging forward. Rattler's been named the starter for this week. They're hoping to get Carr back the following week when they play the Panthers. That might be a good one to come back on, and we'll see. But you're right. The Saints are done. There'll be a lot of people turning their attention to the Pelicans, and if the Pelicans get off to a hot start, maybe they can get a big crowd surge.
Tommy, I don't understand. I don't think because Kamara signed the deal that it's a lock that he's going to be a New Orleans Saint. In fact, I
Right.
think most likely they got this deal done. It's a reasonable price based on his productivity this year and the fact that he's healthy and that he still has a lot of tread on the tire. And I mean, I think it just sets them up to be able to trade him. I would actually be stunned, shocked, and amazed if he's back, because the reality is that, I mean, if we're just being honest with ourselves, you know, Alvin Kamara is not gonna, as good as he is, he's not gonna be helpful this year or next. It's not gonna make a difference. I mean, this year's over. They're gonna win one, maybe two more games the rest of the season, and next year they're gonna be in such a situation where they're having to, go youth and clean house and get rid of old weight, and they're in cap hell, and then probably gonna have a rookie quarterback. Chances are they're gonna have a top 10, top 5 pick, and most likely going to go with a franchise quarterback, or at least they think they will. So, I mean, the Kamara is just wasting time in New Orleans, as much as he may like it, as much as we love him, etc. If you want to do what's right for the Saints, trade the dude and see if you can't get a second or third round pick for him.
I agree 100%. After they lost that Thursday night game, and I suggested, hey, move him, get some players. They need players in a lot of positions. And I agree with you. That doesn't mean he's going to be a Saint for those 2 years of that extension. But maybe that makes him more tradable because somebody else knows what they got to pay him. And he's not entering into free agency or something like that. So it's somewhat of a business move. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm really curious because, look, if you trade him for a third round pick, it's not like, okay, well, we hope we can draft a guy. No, it's about, can you trade him and get rid of that cap situation? You've got to clear the cap. You've got to, and again, I'm not a capologist, so I don't understand always. Sometimes you have to absorb things and all that. But if you can move him and clear up that, $12 million a year, 11, versus a third round picks money, then you're saving millions of dollars, and you can go get a couple of players. So it's really about the number of players for the money versus the quality of the player for the money. It's, can I go get 3 decent players for one Kamara versus I'm wasting a potential borderline Pro Bowler on a terrible team, and it's not going to make a difference. And so,
Yeah. It's not like because they have him, they're going to win 5 more games this year. No, that's not
right.
it.
I mean, look at last week. I mean, he had 10 yards rushing or something like that. So it's a brutal deal for the Saints right now. But anyway, all the world is turning its attention to not only opening week of the NBA, but also this Friday, the World Series. Yankees Dodgers are going to be going at it. Fernando Valenzuela's passing came as a surprise about a month ago. He stepped down out of the booth for the Spanish broadcast because of his illness, an undisclosed illness, and he passed away. And I guess my question to you is, you think about Fernando, what comes to mind? What are the memories? What did he mean to you? Because you were in the middle of college, finishing your college career when he burst on the plane.
I was playing at the time, and we remember that the Dodgers went to Mexico looking for a shortstop. Somebody saw him throw and said, hey, this guy's good. I remember, in fact, he was left-handed. You and I are both left-handed. And how he used to look up, during that windup, his eyes went up, and nobody had ever seen anything like that. And, of course, he was throwing a screwball, which now has been replaced by the sinker, and the sweeper and, the changeup. They throw more changeups now than they ever did in the major leagues. And that is somewhat of a screwball, if you will. But he had the thing where he turned his wrist in, and of course we're all trying it out at the practice field, and it's not going well at all. But because he was a rookie of the year in '81, that would have been my junior year of playing. So yes, we paid a lot of attention to that. We watched that Dodger Yankee World Series on that goofy looking TV in the dorm room, and with the antenna things and the aluminum foil so we could get the picture. I mean, we did all that, and he had a win in that World Series. And he bounced around a bunch of teams at the end of his career, but he's the only Los Angeles Dodger player to have his uniform retired who's not in the Hall of Fame, and he won't get in. He's only got like 170 wins, and he's not going to get into the Hall of Fame. But his number 34 is retired, so ironically, at a time when I was still a left-handed pitcher, he burst onto the scene. And, we didn't have the internet and you didn't have a million highlights and all that, but you certainly turned on Sports Center anytime he pitched so you could see those highlights.
Well, a large part of too of his connection to the Dodgers and also having his jersey retired is the fact that not only was he a great pitcher there, and the Fernando Mania was the biggest thing going in sports at the time, but also the fact that he did do broadcasts for over 20 years, on the Spanish broadcast for the Dodgers. And so, this is a guy, and of course the Latin market of the Dodgers is gigantic. I mean, they make a lot of money off of that. And so, there was a situation where, he's really such a big part of the Dodger brand. And I can tell you, Tommy, what's funny is I learned how to do math based off of Fernando Valenzuela's contract. I remember he signed a big contract with the Dodgers, and Barry Butera, who was my math teacher at Lake Castle in New Orleans East, put up on the board, I think I was in 6th grade, put up on the board, how much he made a year and how much, per pitch and per inning and per day, and like broke it all down. And, it was during a math class, and everything that Barry taught was always related to baseball and salaries and all that. And it helped me like, oh yeah, I get it. No, I understand now.
A good Fernando story. He's a rookie in 81, and early in the season, they go into Houston to play, and he's scheduled to pitch that night, and he gets all nervous in the hotel room. He didn't speak real good English. So he got like an interpreter, and they called Tommy Lasorda, who was the manager, because he looked out his hotel room and it was stormy. Okay, rain, thunder. He wanted to know if the game was rained out. And they said, no, Fernando, they have like a roof on the building. It's the Astrodome. He didn't know that, okay? He was a young kid, rookie out of Mexico. He didn't know they had the Astrodome. He just saw rain, knew he was supposed to pitch, and was wondering whether the game was going to be played.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Well, they will honor him as well as one of the all-time greats. I just can't believe he's 63 years old. I mean, what was he, 19 or 20 when he got to the big leagues? It was something crazy young. He was
a youngster. I don't know if he could have bought a cold beer after the game, but he burst onto the scene. He was rookie of the year. I mean,
and that was back.
The Dodgers were a great team at that time and had been. They were in a good run. And he added to that run, and it was Fernando Mania. That's what they called it.
Yeah, every game was sold out. It was nuts.
Yeah.
It was Paul Skeens multiplied.
And actually, he wasn't a bad hitter for pitcher.
That's right. No, he was.
Considering pitchers, okay. I mean, there was a handful of pitchers who you would say were pretty good hitters over the years.
Yeah,
maybe a little more than a handful. He was not a bad hitter. As far as pitchers go, I'd say he was in the top third of pitchers' batting average. That's back when pitchers hit. Some people watching this show might not know that pitchers used to hit.
So, Tommy, I'm going to head back in. I'm at the Summer Baseball Summit here in West Palm Beach.
You're making the Rougarou better right now, right?
That's right.
All right, here's the big question. One question before you go. Did you beat Louis in golf Monday? That's what I got to know.
I did not.
No, I'm disappointed.
It was bad. It was a lot of rain. I felt like I was in Ireland. It was a weird deal. It was a lot of stop-start with the rain. I didn't play well in those conditions.
Well, I'm going to have to text Louis and congratulate him.
Yeah. By the way, the Rougarou, I don't know if you can see that. Not a lot of love. They misspelled the Rougarou.
Oh.
They went with the OU.
You got to get a discount for that, right?
All
right, we'll be back Friday morning with Sports Shorts Daily. Saturday, we'll be out at the Sportsbook Casino, ESPN Bet for radio this Saturday morning. Aaron in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles. We'll let you know about all that. Hey, don't forget Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, all you deer hunters. They do game processing here. They were working on a bunch of that this morning. Game processing, deer processing. They do it all. They've been doing it for years. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood can take care of all that. Everything you need for tailgating, All your parties at your house, you're going to somebody else's house, they can do that. And then, of course, today's a Wednesday, so that means they have a lunch special, $6.99 for a burger and fries. The world famous hamburgers, the hamburgers from the Rougarou games. Burger and fries, $6.99. You can come in here and eat it. They got tables. You can sit down and eat, or you can get it to go, or get a bunch of them to go and go back into the office with a bunch of them to go. $6.99. That's every Wednesday, not just today. $6.99 for burger and fries here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. As Ronnie mentioned, we will be back Friday morning, Sports Shorts Daily. I'll be back over here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Radio Saturday morning. Let me get that billboard up for you. Saturday morning on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and Lake Charles on ESPN Southwest Radio. 10 a.m. to 12 noon, we'll be live and in color in the ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Come stop by and say hello, or be sure you're listening on any of those ESPN stations, the app, the whole bit. On behalf of Ronnie Rance, on behalf of Mike Tremonti and everybody here at Tremonti's, I'm Tommy Christ, and have a great day, everyone.